All right, I think we're live. I'm just going to log into Facebook and make sure I can see the comments. That's always a problem when you go live. All right. And let me go over here and say, all right. So I hope my connection holds out because honestly, my connection sucks. I have a pretty poor internet connection. In fact, I might actually, let me, if quality gets bad. So I'm going to get started. So I wanted to talk to you guys about something. So guys, I'm actually going live on Clubhouse and also YouTube. And so I thought that I would go live on YouTube because some people don't have Clubhouse, and also that way I can record this and people who don't get to participate can see it. I don't know about you, but I am totally bombarded with events, and I keep getting more and more invites to events, and I feel really bad because sometimes I miss those events, and even ones I really wanted to go to, but it's just really hard to keep track anymore. So if I'm not the only one, I can imagine for you guys it's the same thing. And so that's why I love to have the ability to do the replay. And I wanted this whole week, I'm going to be going live on these two platforms and probably also on Facebook. And hold on, for anybody who can see me, this is Pierre le chat, the little kitty. Oh, no. Oh, he sees a moth. There we go. And yeah, so if you hear some noise, I swear to you, I have a kitten. And so it's very active kitten, of course. And so I'm going to be going live this entire week because I really want to give you guys some tips, especially if you're starting out your business. When I started out my agency, it was not an online business. It was a in-person kind of full-blown agency, and I had a lot of help. I remember that it was the lawyer who incorporated us. It was the lawyer who drafted up a business plan for us. And pretty much from day one, there were 3 partners. So we kind of split up the work, and very soon we were able to hire employees. And I find that being an online business owner is so different. And it felt to me like starting over again, even though I have tons of business experience. So I think that one of the things that gets skipped very often is what we're going to talk about today, which is business plan. And I don't think it's a very popular topic. It doesn't sound as interesting as a lot of the other topics, but I definitely think having a business plan is a great idea. And here's the thing I want to tell you guys is I think that you can have a business plan even if you don't have a full-blown money-making business. If you are a content creator, you should have a business plan. Why is that? Well, because it's your guideline. It's going to be like, what's the purpose of what I'm trying to achieve here? And then maybe, is there any financial means available to me? Like, most of the time when people start creating content regularly, they are interested in monetizing, right? And so that's a big thing. And so maybe you don't have a business per se. Maybe you have a regular job, or you're just online for kind of social reasons. But if you have a business plan, you'll be much more focused about who you're trying to reach. And that way you can build a community, for example, right? So your business plan is your compass in your business. That's how I like to look at your business plan. So when I think, it's sad when I see people who skip over the business plan, or just don't, they have a boilerplate one that somebody wrote for them, or a template that they were given, and they don't use it. I think it's really sad, because the business plan can really make a big difference in what you do in your business. So I just want to say hi real quick on Clubhouse. I have Rashida and Robert. Thanks for joining in. I know it's not the funnest topic about business plans, but I really am passionate about this, and I'm kind of a nerd. So thanks for coming. If you guys have any questions or experience with this kind of stuff, please speak up. And definitely just unmute yourself and talk if you want. Just when you do, if you do, note that I am recording this on YouTube. So I need to have your permission to record according to Clubhouse's rules. But welcome. And let's see. Is anybody following me on YouTube? I don't know yet. I have to log into YouTube. Hold on. I'm streaming this from StreamYard, so it's kind of always a two-step process to get into these different platforms and even know if I am live or not. That's another question. But I'm going to walk you through real quick the different points that a business plan should have. And after this live, if anyone wants a template, you just have to DM me on Instagram or on LinkedIn, and I will be happy to send you an actual template that you can create your own. I do this for all of my clients because, like I said, it is a compass, in my opinion. So I definitely think people should not underestimate that. They should really understand. Oh, okay. I am live. I see myself. Yay. Let me see if there's any comments. Let's see. Anyone have any questions already? Maybe not. Oh, good. They add the subtitles. That's what I like, that it's on there. Happy to see that. All right. So the main thing I want to say is an overview of what a business plan should have in there. So in my opinion, there should be 8 different parts in a business plan. The executive summary mission statement, the business operations plan, the products and services plan, or section, the assets section, the financial section, the market analysis section, the market strategy section, and the sales strategy section. So there's 8 total. You do not have to remember that. Like I said, you can DM me if you want a template. Because I'm doing this on Clubhouse, I'm not really doing a lot of screen sharing because I don't want people to get frustrated that way. But here's the funny thing. The funny thing is that I, in my business coaching and business strategy consults, sometimes we spend the entire time just talking about the executive summary and mission statement. And that may surprise you because some people think that's just some kind of formality that you brush over. But, why are you doing this? Whatever you're doing online, I need to know why you're doing it. And that's your mission. And then I also want to know who you're doing it for. So that's your market. And then what services are you providing? Or what activity, and why. So that's your executive summary right there. If you put all that stuff together, you've got a really great executive summary. and my cat is jumping on me. Where are you? He's hiding. He's so little. He's only 2 months old and he's like hiding. I got to get his toy so that he is entertained constantly. Here you go. Look, there you go. Okay. So the mission statement. So even if you're not, like I said, a full-fledged business owner, I really think you have to do some soul searching. Why are you online? What is your mission online? And I wrote a post yesterday with sarcasm in the first line where I said, social media is a waste of time. And I was being sarcastic, but I think many of you have heard that before, right? And when we think of social media being a waste of time, even Clubhouse, some people told me, "Oh, you're doing a talk, but I don't want to join Clubhouse because I think it's like too much hype and it's a waste of time or whatever." And the truth is, it is only a waste of time if you're there without a purpose. So consider your business plan. It could be for your social media strategy entirely. The whole thing, if you're not running a money-making business and you're on social media for community, right? Or maybe you're considering writing a book. I'm just giving an example. So you're not considering yourself a business owner, but you want to be on social media to build an audience because, and this is the truth because I've consulted with a lot of authors, you really do need to build up a following when you publish your book. You have to have people that really love your message and they would buy it instantly. It's very important for an author, unless you're like, Stephen King style and you're just you're a one in a million. The rest of us really have to think of it that way. Okay. So let's say that your whole business plan is really around, I'm online because I'm going to publish a book eventually and I want to build up an audience, or I'm online because of some other kind of community driven effort, maybe even a volunteer effort. I have tons of friends who are involved in philanthropy or nonprofits. So when I say business plan, I say that very loosely. And I do think that a lot of people could apply this template and create the same thing for whatever purpose they want to be online for. Okay. And then who do you want to reach? So it's funny that I did a free LinkedIn 5-day challenge that you can get off of my website if you go to kristamaleone.com, 5-day LinkedIn challenge. And on one of those days, we go into your customer avatar, and who is your customer avatar, your ideal customer, right? And that's right up front in your business plan. But it can take people a very long time to figure out who they actually want to talk to, right? And I like to say, go in on social media with a purpose, and it should be in and out. It's more about being purposeful, speaking to the right audience, and also being consistent about it, like really booking the time and saying, okay, here's when I post my stuff on a daily basis, because that's when my audience is online, not when it's convenient for me or when, just random when I have time. Instead, it's like I book it in my calendar and, I teach content strategy. So I truly believe that you should plan out your content month by month and post it in a more strategic way. But even before you have to go there, make sure that you know who you're talking to. Okay. Super, super important to have the right message for the right audience and not just be randomly posting stuff. So think of this business plan as being useful to define your customer audience. And if you need help with that, just take my challenge, because there is a worksheet in there on one of the days, which I can't remember right now which day, but you'll definitely find it. If you take the challenge, you'll be asked to describe your customer in a lot of detail. And if you don't know, just DM me if you need any help. If you get stuck on that part, you don't know who you're talking to. But trust me, the more you know what you're doing online and who are you there for, the more strong your content is going to be, the bigger your following will become, and ultimately you will achieve all your goals if you follow this kind of philosophy. So moving on to that's what your mission is and who your market is. What are your services? So what does that mean? Your services, it's really what you're doing. So what are you offering them? And that, if you're just using this business plan for social media, because I deal with a lot of content creators, if you're just using it for social media, then your services will be exactly your content buckets. And we go into that in the 5-day LinkedIn challenge as well. I keep referencing that because there's, of course, a lot more that I can't say in this short time with you. But your content buckets are really the topics that you want to become known for and you know your audience is interested in. So that would be considered your services. Is I speak about these topics, and I teach no more than having 5 content buckets, 3 business-like or really targeted, and 2 personal. And I truly believe that should all be in writing. So I really want you to define this all in your executive summary and mission statement. And sometimes people use the executive summary and mission statement as a standalone document as well in a lot of situations, especially when it's a company culture issue. So I definitely feel like this is something very important. It reinforces your confidence in what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I have to add that I do regularly get DMs from people who say, Krista, I've been posting all the time and I am frustrated. Should I stop? Is this like a waste of my time? And sure enough, the reason they are frustrated is because they have not really defined those 3 things. What is their mission? Who is their market? And what services or content buckets do they want to really talk about for that audience? And if you define those 3 things, which are going to be your executive summary and mission statement, you will see that things will get a lot better for you because you'll be much more clear in your content, and you'll know that you're not going to post something because it's not on brand. And if you start randomly posting stuff, people get confused and they tend to stop following you, or just, later on, they will never buy from you or whatever, because they'll be really surprised and be like, well, I don't really understand this person, what they do. It's just all kind of attention seeking. And so I truly believe in staying on brand. Okay. So I think I covered the heck out of the executive summary and mission statement. And definitely, like I said, I have a template for you if you want it, with some examples in it. And moving on to part 2, which is the business operations. This one is really important when you start trying to do a lot of things, because even if you are a solopreneur, you will understand that you need help. It takes a village. Even if you're just having, let's say, a weekly live show online, or a podcast, or just like one thing that you've got going on, you will quickly see that there's a lot of things that go into that, right? So you might consider business operations, or all the people that you could potentially bring on board to help you with your business. One of the most important people, if I was a small business, would be to have somebody helping me with my social media, to have a virtual assistant, to have even a business manager if I'm running various programs and projects. And of course, then you can go into the service providers like video editors, podcast editors, um, graphic designers, web designers, so many people that go into those business operations. And that's where you can create a whole spreadsheet where you map out who you would need in your business. And I actually recommend doing it from the get-go, even if you don't have the budget or the necessity yet to do it, because hiring is an ongoing process. I like to tell my business clients, you are always hiring. You must consider hiring not in a short-term sense, but in a constant mode of talent seeking. Like you're always open to getting referrals about these different people, inquiring about the services, and just keeping a list of people so that when you do have the budget or when you do get into a time crunch, you know who to go to and hire. And you can list all that out under your business operations. And it also helps you plan budget, because later on we'll talk about finances. So if you've got all these people listed out under your business operations, you can start inquiring into the going market rate to hire these people. And what happens, and this is really sad, is people have short-term thinking. So they're like, oh man, I need to hire someone right now. Then they hire someone because they're in a time crunch. And you know what happens? Nothing good comes out of that. So you either hire the wrong person who doesn't do a good job and you're disappointed, or you end up paying for a service that's way over budget and you didn't know because you didn't shop around. I had a guy in my free 5-day LinkedIn challenge who had hired somebody for social media help. And he was paying 5 figures a month and for 6 months, and he didn't grow. Nothing happened. And he was like, why am I paying this firm 5 figures a month? I just, I really want to grow. And they keep promising me that they're helping me, but it takes time. I haven't seen anything happen. And I think that's just an example of him hastily hiring the wrong people, and being a little bit uninformed. So in any case, I don't think you should skip over that part. I think business operations and anticipating, forecasting, planning your whole year ahead would be smart. So what does year 2 look like? What does year 3 look like? I seriously like this way of thinking. Big picture thinking is what I call it. And then part 3 is your products and services. So this is where the fun happens, because this is where you get to develop all the things you want to do. And this is where I like to do with my clients brain dumping, where we just kind of go crazy. And it's like all the possible things you might want to do with your business or with your social media. Well, I consider it a business too, with your content creation. And that's what you can put under your products and services. Is like, maybe I want to host a virtual event, an industry event or something big, or maybe I want to do this massive campaign. All that stuff can go under products and services. Whether or not you're going to charge money for it is a secondary question, but definitely that's really the heart of the matter of what your activities are. And then let's move on. Let's see. Assets, that we can skip over almost. Assets, I think that's important to make a list. In fact, in my template, I already have like all the typical things that a content creator needs in terms of like equipment. And it's more like a checklist where you're like, do I have a microphone? Yes or no? Do I have a webcam? Do I have a DSLR camera? What are all the things that you might need to run your business? And then you can also plan ahead and budget ahead. And it's exactly like the business operations, where you shouldn't be going out from day one and buying a bunch of stuff and not even understanding what you need and if you need it and getting the right thing. So it's much better to talk to people and use this kind of checklist system to plan ahead and be like, okay, I'm going to start off with this and later on I'm going to upgrade. But your assets list of your business plan shows what it takes to operate your business and also what is valuable. I mean, some of this equipment and even software can add up. As a marketer myself, I can tell you that even marketing software can be outrageously priced. And then you realize, oh, I really want to do this campaign. I'm going to purchase 20 different pieces of software just to run the campaign. And in the end, we're talking 5 figures easily. So those are things that I put under assets of like, what have I budgeted in here? And those are things that also you want to look into getting insured. When I started my LLC, I took out a business insurance and they asked me for the asset list. So this is something very handy when and if you need it to get it insured, right? Or make sure, or call up your existing like homeowners insurance or whatever and ask, hey, I just purchased $1,000 camera, $2,000 camera, a $5,000 computer setup, right? I mean, we're talking, this stuff can be pricey. So you definitely want to make a list of this stuff and then find out about your insurance. And so part 5 is in your business plan is finances. Fun, right? I am not a financial expert, but I definitely think that, of course, money is the heart of your business. So if you're not managing your funds well, then you have no business, honestly. So if you are a content creator and you're not yet making any money, then this is the part where you are just going to look into monetization and maybe start mapping out a financial forecasting plan where you say, okay, I'm going to be doing a talk, by the way, later this week about revenue streams. So if you're interested, oh, hey, there's Lee. Hello. It's
I'm sorry, I was in another room,
oh,
so I didn't see that it was.
no problem. No problem. It's a small room, but I just started on Clubhouse. So I have not been on Clubhouse very much. I actually got an account maybe 6 months ago, but because I'm in Europe, like you are, Lee, it seems to me like the best talks only start around this time, which is for us pretty late. So I just have been kind of waiting. So I am streaming this on YouTube as well so that I have a recording, because while I really love Clubhouse, I think, of course, the big disadvantage is that you give a talk about something and then the very next day someone messages you and says, hey, are you doing that talk? And you're like, I already did it. It's over. And they, and I'm like, just watch the replay. Hey, I'm not going to do it for no reason. So go ahead to the replay. And I did mention that I have a template for business plans, and anybody who needs it, who is here or who's watching the replay, can just DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn. And oh, awesome. I see Jada Townsend. I know you from LinkedIn. She's joined in on YouTube. And nice to see you here. So, I'm just going to refresh real quick and say that business plans are something that people don't get excited about. And I am totally obsessed with my business plan. So if I even am doing this talk today about one, it's because I can compare a business plan to a compass in your business. If you do not use your business plan, you do not know where you're headed. That's just my opinion, but that's how I use my business plan actively and regularly. And as a business strategist and coach, I prepare one for all of my clients. That's one of the first things I want. And so we've already been at this for 30 minutes and we covered the executive summary and mission statement, which is, why are you online. Who is your market that you're trying to speak to? And what do you really want to offer them, right? What services, what content are you delivering to them? What value? It's mostly about value here. And writing that down can be very powerful. And I think a lot of people don't really know who they're speaking to. When we do the customer avatar list, people get kind of confused, and a lot of times they have a breakthrough, an aha moment where they're like, after doing this, I realized that you're right. I don't want to serve all these people. And we niche down even further. So I find that the business plan is a really powerful exercise for kind of having those aha moments and saying something out loud. It's just so powerful to see it in writing and talk with someone else about it and redefine and reconfirm. And I do believe it's a living document, because over time, your strategy is going to change for sure. So I said that it's an 8-part document: executive summary, mission statement, business operations, products and services, assets, finances, market analysis, marketing strategy, and sales strategy. Okay, that's a mouthful. And for sure, all of these things can change over time, right? So like I mentioned earlier, I think the business operations should be more of a forecasting about, we want to grow. What is that going to look like, so that you can plan ahead and adjust your goals accordingly, especially your budgeting, because you're like, we want to grow. And in order to grow, these are the rates of the people who we want to hire and bring on board. In order to do that, we're going to need to make this much money. And it's a motivator. It's a real motivator to match up your forecasting with your goals, right? So, and then we covered developing your products and services, which is my favorite part, because I just really love helping people build new products and do all that creative work. That's really the creative part. And then the assets part we covered. It's important to really make a list of all the things you need to run your business: software, hardware. And I use a checklist system with my clients, and I think people don't really plan that, and then they either overspend, or they get FOMO and they end up buying something that they don't need, right? And that's what's sad. So a lot of times when I work with clients, we end up ditching some of the stuff they bought, because it's like, no, you don't need Lead Pages and Instapage. They're the same thing. Why would you buy two? But they didn't know any better. So they're just like adding on all these things, or buying the most expensive like live stream camera. I'm like, okay, you've never done a live stream. Why would you buy this camera? I mean, everyone can decide for themselves, but if you map it out in the business plan, in your assets list, and you plan ahead, you project, what are you going to need now, and what will I probably upgrade later or add on later, you're just going to be in much better shape making decisions, right? As well as I mentioned, for those who just joined, is the insurance component. It's really great to have a list of assets, because when I got my business insurance, they asked me for one. And they're like, okay, what are your business assets? What do you own for your business? And those things you may also work with your accountant to see if anything is deductible, because those are all expenses. So these asset lists can serve a lot of purposes, actually. So we stopped kind of talking at finances, and then I refreshed the room. So finances in your business plan, super, super important, of course. And later this week, I'm going to be doing the talk about multiple revenue streams. So in your finance section, that's where you really map out all the ways you're planning on making money. Also, what are the funds you have? And of course, this is a living document that you really work through, usually with your chief financial officer, or if you are a solopreneur, you will have a CPA that you can talk to, or you can actually hire a financial advisor to work with you. And the more you grow, the more you're going to want to have this person on staff. Even if they're not you're not in the position to hire a CFO. You're going to want to have a really good financial advisor on your retainer so that you can talk to them all the time. And of course, a bookkeeper and a CPA. And sometimes there's services that handle small businesses where you can get all of that. I've seen a few startups lately that are catering towards small business owners or solopreneurs to manage all their finances for them at an affordable price. So that's great. So just wanted to ask the people who are in this room, well, first of all, thank you for giving me a little piece of your day and hanging out with me to talk about such a not so sexy topic. So shout out to you guys, Rashida, Robert, Lee, Jada, anyone who I can't see on Facebook. If you guys are, I don't even know if I went live here, but I might have. Does anybody have any experience with this, what I said about creating a business plan, even if you're like a content creator or even if you're trying to build a community? I'm just curious to know if any of you guys have done that before.
I have to speak quite low, Krista, because everybody's almost going to sleep there. But yes, we do. We have a business plan because Oscar started this company about 6 years ago. And so we have a business plan. But I do think there are certain elements to what we find. What's kind of hard is that in the daily working, you know how things just sort of evolve real quickly. And especially with the situation with Corona, we had to sort of really pivot and change everything from in-person workshops to online workshops. And that leaves little, not always enough time to really think about how we're doing things to be able to scale. And I think scaling is maybe one of the, at least for us, maybe one of the biggest challenges is how to scale, without going bankrupt. You want to scale and you hire, and then, okay, who are you going to hire? How much can you afford that they work, et cetera, because you know that you have to have those people there, maybe more people to do things at the same time. You have to have the resources. So I think it's it's a really, really a hard thing sometimes to balance. So, I mean, having a business plan is absolutely a must. I'm not saying ours is real great always, but we do have one.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And what you just said is definitely everybody's problem. I mean, last year and a half has been pretty brutal for many of us. I didn't work for like 5.5 months. So talk about like kind of having to re-nurture people, reopen my doors. I also rebranded a little. And so there's been all these different changes that kind of set me back. But I think the main thing is get something in writing, like keep your business plan up to date and fresh and say, you know what? We need to kind of think ahead of our business operations. Like who would we want to, what kind of services would we need to offer or would we like to offer? Put that under your business operations as you're forecasting. So you know kind of where you want to head with your services. And then I like to do business meetings every Monday because I feel like that sets the tone for the whole week. And that's why, as soon as a person can, I always advise my clients, hire a business operations manager, because somebody to really take over the day-by-day coordination of things is great. And eventually later, you're going to have all these people maybe in a freelance capacity, or on 1099 in the US, which is like a non-employee status. And then you'll have all that written up in your business plan and tie it back into your products and services so that everything is focused on scaling and growth. Because those are the places where you want to be, right? And it gets you excited, it motivates you, it drives you. And that's how you set your finances, because instead of just starting with the finances, oh, I think I need to make this much a month or this much a month. Why are you trying to make all that money? Like, let's be realistic. Let's think, the more I can create an amazing service offering, the more I can diversify my revenue streams, right? And so it takes money to make money, which means in order to build those amazing products and services that will give you more revenue, you'll probably have to spend some money, right? You'll need people to help you build these things. And that all goes back into your financial plan. And then you can really look at everything as a whole. Brendan Burchard, who is a big time sales performance coach, I highly recommend you guys follow him. I did a review on my YouTube channel of his habits planner. He has like a daily journal. One thing he says is that you should do a whole life assessment every single week on Sundays. And he coaches 7-8 figure people, and he tells them that. He's like, every single week you should do a whole life assessment. And
Can you just repeat his name, Krista?
yeah, of course. Brendan Burchard. And I can DM you that. It's kind of an odd name, actually, especially for non I always misspell his name, by the way. But let me see his website. I think it's just brendan.com, but let me just check. Brendan.
Yeah, I am so tired, Krista. I have to leave.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll definitely thank you for saying hi, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, we will. And I just had to say, my name is pronounced, it's not easy to see.
Leah. Leah. Okay.
Yes, Leah. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye. Yeah. I think that using your business plan as kind of a guideline is a really good idea, so that you can kind of touch base with yourself on a weekly basis. Am I still in touch with this? And do I want to make some changes, and where are we at? So that's kind of why I wanted to do this talk, because I feel the business plan is so helpful for planning out your goals and then keeping it up to date and making sure we're on target. And the last 3 sections that I'll just go over is the market analysis. So I really believe that we should think of collaboration over competition, but we need to know the landscape of what we're dealing with here. So whatever market you're going to go into, if it's just like social media, you want to grow on a platform, you want to build a community, or you definitely want to monetize, you're looking at eventually doing, like I spoke about earlier, the book launch idea. That's a typical one. You need to know the landscape of your audience. Who are the ones they're following right now, right? Who's out there for them to follow? And that's how you figure out how to differentiate yourself. I believe strongly that we all complement each other. We may think that people offer the same services as us, but it's not true. It's definitely not true, because we all secretly have a superpower. And so I'll give you an example of myself. So I offer business coaching or business strategy consulting, if you will. And if you just look up that, you'll find a lot of people with that title, or business coach or whatever. But if you take the time to look further at the market, you'll see that everyone comes from a different background. So one person is going to teach about growing on Instagram. That's all they really know about. Like, that's where they hang out. That's where they built their audience. So if you suddenly tell them well, my audience is on LinkedIn, they're not going to be able to help you with LinkedIn. So they might not say they are Instagram expert, just like I would not say I'm a LinkedIn expert. But if you start looking at my content, you'll be like, oh, okay, she's more active on LinkedIn If you want to grow on LinkedIn, it's better to go to her. But if you want to grow on Instagram, her Instagram account is neglected, although I'm changing that right now. I really do love Instagram. I just focused so much on LinkedIn and my podcast that I just didn't have time for everything. But now I'm changing that. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when you do market research, you have to go a little bit deeper. And then you look at the people who are really in your field. So you get rid of, the apples to oranges type of scenarios. And then you're like, okay, here I am with the apples. I've taken out the oranges. And now I see clearly where only the apples are in this fruit bowl. And then I'm looking at, where's my golden delicious apples? Where's my red apples, my green apples, my yellow apples? And where do I have a corner of that market? Okay. And that's where there's room for collaboration. So once you find those people, and by the way, you can collaborate with oranges, meaning like, let's say I'm a business coach and I'm really good at LinkedIn, but there's another business coach who's really good at Instagram. So if I'm doing my market research for my business plan, I'm going to notice that person and I'm going to say, wow, she's really good at Instagram. And I can network with her and maybe collaborate with her. And I can say, hey, I can send you people who need help on Instagram. You send me people who need help on LinkedIn. Win-win. And our audiences both want to grow. They're both looking for business strategists to look up to listen to. So probably our audiences also kind of overlap, even though you're an orange and I'm an apple, right? So that's just an idea of why you should do market research for your business plan, because you'll find out some interesting things. And then based on your analysis, you'll do something. You'll do two things. Number one, you'll write better messaging. You'll go back and you'll say, I don't want to stay up here and sound all high level. I want to go deeper and be very, very specific about the niche I serve and change my language accordingly to what I discovered when I did my market research. And number two, you will collaborate. You'll notice these people. You'll take note of them. You'll maybe compile a list of them. That's what I do. I actually have a spreadsheet and I put down the names of people I researched so that later on I can find them. Twitter has this really cool feature where you can create lists of people. But unfortunately, Instagram, LinkedIn, the others don't. So usually I just use a spreadsheet and then I reach out to them and I try to network with them, because if I like their content, then I definitely want to at least test the waters and see if there's any synergy there. I'm a real networker, so I definitely find that reaching out to people is super, super important. And you can learn from each other too. It's really interesting. I kind of geek out on analyzing people's strategies and understanding what they do behind the scenes and asking them questions. Hey, maybe you guys can create like a peer-to-peer group as well. Anyways, and then the last two things of the business plan are the marketing and the sales strategy. Ta-da! The favorite part, right? And that is like a standalone effort, right? So marketing and sales. Here's the thing about them. I truly believe that marketing and sales go hand in hand, that marketing is just telling people about the product, which you've developed in the products and services section. And sales is just collecting the money. So I don't really believe that these things are separate. I think they have to go hand in hand. So when I design marketing strategies, I always include the sales flow in there. And the reason I think of it that way is because I'm an inbound marketer, which means I don't believe on organizing separate sales efforts and going door to door and bothering people. I'm really against spamming and DMing people with your offers, pitching people. I truly believe that social selling is a much better way. And so my philosophy is, plan your content in advance, thus the marketing strategy part. Plan it month to month, year to year. So once you're operating at a higher level, you don't look at months anymore. You only look at the whole year, and you plan out all 12 months. That's how people operate. And they operate usually around like things happening. Like if you're going to launch a new book, maybe you launch a book every 2 years. So you're like, okay, that's time for my annual book launch or whatever. So things get easier when you have launches, because then you can plan everything around those things. But if you're just trying to, plan out your social media, definitely start with months. And there's a lot of great tools that you can use to go into that. I would have to do another talk, but maybe I will if anyone's interested, including people who watch the replay. If you guys want to know more about that, about planning out your social media strategy, we can talk about it separately. But that would be something to go under your marketing strategy. But essentially, under your marketing strategy, you have your website, your email marketing, your social media marketing, and am I missing something? And video marketing. So those are the 4 components that I consider have to be part of any marketing strategy. So what are you doing with those 4 things? And then, of course, you can add on. So maybe live events, virtual events, those could all be part of marketing. PR can be wrapped into your marketing strategy. So maybe podcast interviews, mentions in publications, a TED Talk, all of those things could be considered marketing under the umbrella of marketing. But the core are those 4 that I mentioned. And everything else is more geared towards the individual and can change. But everybody has those 4. And then your sales strategy, of course, ties back into your marketing strategy. How could it be separate? It can't. It's all dependent on, so for me, I consider your sales strategy picking the fruit. So let's say that you're a farmer and you plant these beautiful trees and you nurture them and they grow and they bear fruit. And then you just let the fruit spoil. Like, no, you wouldn't do that. You would stay there and pick the fruit at the right time. So sales is pretty much standing under the tree with your basket, waiting for the fruit to fall or picking it when it's ripe. And the marketers are up in the tree shaking the tree. Okay. So that's how I consider it. So it has to be hand in hand. When you do a good marketing strategy, and this is a mistake that is very common, actually. For example, people make this a post and they're so proud because it got a lot of engagement, a lot of attention. And they're like, hey, my post kind of went viral. And then I'm like, and then what happened? That's my question. What happened then? Because if you're going to take the time to produce great content, but you're not going to do anything, you're really, really missing out. You have to go in and pick the fruit. And that means you have to engage on the comments. You have to send DMs to people and try to keep the conversations going. You have to really make some efforts. You have to, at that point, mention your offers. So if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I do that. Like, I'll post about a topic and then I'll offer something in the comments. So I'll say, hey, in relation to this, I've got this 5-day LinkedIn challenge, or I have a free downloadable document about this topic for you if you need it. And those are sales tactics. That's where we pass over from marketing into sales, because what I'm doing is I'm getting people into my funnel. And this is not a marketing funnel, it's a sales funnel. It goes from marketing, you're interested in this topic, over to I can help you. I actually have services that are paid services. So we transition from the free into the paid conversation. And as an inbound marketer, that transition should be smooth. If you do cold emailing, cold pitching, the person is taken completely off guard. You have no idea if they're interested in this product or service. If they downloaded your guide about LinkedIn, and then you say, by the way, I have a program, a paid service for LinkedIn. Here it is in case you need it. They're not going to be shocked. They're going to be like, okay, whether or not they want it or they're ready for it, they're not going to be as upset because you're in their lane. You're talking their language. Whereas I get pitched all the time from people randomly. Today, one of my clients messaged me and asked me if he should sign up for this LinkedIn lead gen service. And he said it's not very expensive. They say that they'll generate so many new leads for me every month. They use the LinkedIn DMs to do everything. And I was like, would you trust somebody to potentially ruin your reputation by spamming strangers on your behalf when it looks like it's you? No, I don't think that's a good idea at all. I mean, you have no idea who they're going to reach out to if the person is receptive to that kind of service, if they even need it. Like I get pitched stuff that's completely irrelevant to me all the time. So I totally believe that inbound marketing is the way to go. I'm biased. So I think having this business plan, working through it, I work through it with my clients in one-on-one consulting. And then I feel like it's not a one-off. I don't think we just fill the whole thing out, we're done. On the contrary, I think there's a lot of question marks, a lot of stuff that keeps changing or needs to be developed. For example, the products and services. When you're a new business owner, you don't know a lot of times what kind of products and services, and we need to work it out. And that's another reason that later this week I'm going to be doing another talk about business revenue streams, because I think that when you have that in your head, it's a lot easier to plan out products and services because you're thinking about all the ways I could possibly help people. And that's another thing, I guess, to wrap this up, because we've been at this for a while. I want to let you guys go. I definitely believe like the goal of all of this, the goal of the business plan, the goal of the products and services, the goal of everything is to help people. So if I ask you, why are you online? I hope that your answer is because you have something valuable to give to a certain type of person that you feel sincerely passionate about helping, and you enjoy helping. That's what I want to hear. I don't like to work with people, frankly, who are just thinking about short-term wins and thinking about themselves making money. I think that you will make more money than you ever dreamed of by helping more people than you ever dreamed of. So the more you help people, the better off your chances are. So think about how you want to help people, who you want to help, and then what kind of products and services. And one of the best ways, before we wrap this up, to develop your products and services is to hang out with your audience a lot more. So one of the reasons I decided to do this Clubhouse, one of the reasons I run a group on LinkedIn is because I just want to hang out with people who are also content creators, because I know we have that in common, and whose content I like. Maybe it's not me, their audience, but I like their style. I can feel the heart in their posts. And I just think that hanging out with people helps me be inspired to create better products and services for a certain audience. So if I'm hanging out with content creators, and I'm looking at their content all day, I'm talking to them, I'm doing Zoom calls with them, I can really understand more what they need. And then I can think, I hear this repeatedly. I'm going to build something to help them. I'm going to build a worksheet. I'm going to maybe even make an entire course around that because I know that they need that. So I'm going to be launching a new program in June, and this is going to be a club, and it's going to be a paid club, a monthly paid club for business owners and content creators. And I developed it after really spending so much time working one-on-one with people, as well as talking to friends who are content creators and thinking, well, what is really a way that I can help people best? And at first I thought a course would be enough, but then I realized that there's just way too much. And a course on your own, there's too much to deal with. So I decided to do this membership because then you get even more advantage of a community. So it's not just the learning experience or the information that you get. That works if you're teaching one specific thing. Like I'm going to give you an intro course about LinkedIn, right? But what I want to do is I want to help content creators and business owners succeed in creating amazing content ongoing. So we're going to set up social media plans. We're going to plan out the content. We're going to plan out their products and services. I'm going to help them with their marketing and sales strategy. So I want to do this in a group setting because I think I can help more people than I could ever serve one-on-one. I only have limited hours for one-on-one. And I think that the community aspect is priceless. I think people, even this platform Clubhouse, we've seen it grow. What's one of the reasons why it's so popular in such a short time is because of the community aspect. Being in these rooms is very intimate. It's like being in a bar or like a conference, right? You're meeting strangers and you're checking them out. You're looking at their profile. Maybe you guys are going to connect on a different platform and continue discussing, or you're going to follow them here and co-moderate a room together or something, right? So to wrap this up, I think I have a very specific opinion about business plans. And the way I see them is that they are your compass for your business or your content strategy. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. And if you have any questions, please DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn, as well as if you want the business plan template. I highly recommend you do this. Trust me, it will definitely open your eyes and keep you focused on what you're supposed to be doing in your goals. So thanks for hanging out. And you guys have any questions?
Let's say this was great. Nice job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robert. It's great that you hung out with me.
My hands are starting to cramp a little bit because I took so many notes.
Oh my gosh. Well, you can always watch the replay on YouTube as well.
Well, I'm listening through Clubhouse, so I'm not seeing what's on YouTube, but I'm definitely going to check that out.
Well, I just did it because I do feel like people are overwhelmed with events lately. I don't know. Do you have that problem as well, that you're getting a lot of notifications to get invited to different events?
Yes.
Yes. So I posted about this, I think it was 2 days ago. One of the biggest complaints I have about events, well, first of all, I think it's great that you can go into social media and create your own event, like on Facebook and LinkedIn for sure, right? And YouTube as well. You can actually create an event. So I think most social platforms are understanding the importance of organization. Like people want community, and what's the best way to create community is to actually get them together at a specific time. Events are different from groups, obviously, because they're timely. So in a group can be ongoing forever, whereas an event, it's like a call to action. Please show up at this time. We're going to be doing this. And that's great. But my complaint is that you can't go to somebody's profile. Like, let's say you click on my profile on LinkedIn, Krista, and you're like, I wonder if she has any events coming up. Is she hosting any events? And maybe I want to RSVP because I like her stuff, or I just am curious what she's hosting. And there's no way to see that on your profile. So I think that that's a big disadvantage because sometimes someone will mention an event. Oh, did you know Robert's hosting an event? And I'm like, really? Oh, cool. But how am I supposed to find your event? I have to like DM you or I have to go to like the events section and like somehow search you up there, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it's just a hassle. Like, I just want to know, like, Robert's hosting an event. Oh, cool. I'm going to check. I'm going to like look at his profile and then I could see everything that you're doing. That's what I want.
Well, from your lips to their ears, right?
I know. Well, I posted about it and I tagged LinkedIn.
You did, yeah. That was you were spot on with that.
I totally think people would show up for more events if it was clearer on their profile. And I mentioned when I did that, right now on your profile on LinkedIn, there is this section that's very prominent that you can see on your profile or my profile. It's called interests. And I honestly think that's the stupidest section. Like, if you asked me, hands down, I would replace that section with an events section, right? And I'd like to see, like, when in the events section, let's say that you have LinkedIn Live and you host a weekly show. I would love that in that section, I could immediately see who has LinkedIn Live and who doesn't, like who has a show, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
And then be able, and be able to like RSVP or get a notification. Like, I totally think LinkedIn they kind of gave us the feature without fully giving us the tools we need to take advantage of the feature.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I mean, seriously, what do you do with interests? What am I supposed to know, that you follow Tony Robbins? That's cool.
Well, this was great though. I really appreciate it, and I don't care that I tell everybody that anything that you do, I try to follow and attend.
Oh my gosh, Bob, thank you so much. And you too. I'm really impressed what you've done with this Coffee with Bob. And I totally think that you can do a lot more with it if you want. But the main thing is to have fun. Because if you stop having fun and you start feeling like it's a chore or it's overwhelming, then things get less fun and the quality goes down. Because the most important thing is your energy, your enthusiasm about what you do.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely agree with that, and that's what I'm trying to keep it there.
Awesome. Well, as you saw in this talk, it's never too early to kind of map out what kind of help you might need. There's plenty of good people who are interested in helping moderate, like for example, manage comments or set up the event or help you in different ways, right?
Yeah, that's why I like attending your various seminars. I've learned so much from them, and it's helping me sort of narrow down and find what I want my center to be with the whole Coffee with Bob. So thanks again.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy. And it's nice to see you. And you too, Rashida, if you're still.
Hi, Krista. Thank you. That was an amazing, I should say evening. I'm on a vacation and it's past 11 here, but I